I think that for this Senate to enact a law that will give a Nigerian to apply for a license and to be so licensed such that he can carry out investigation on anyone. I saw here to prevent fraud prevention. That is what EFCC and the police are about. Corporate fraud, any manner of fraud, whether corporate, individual. I think that it would be risky to license anyone to have the right to approach any one of us and ask certain questions because the law has empowered him so to do. It will just be a license for extortion, a license for blackmail, an unnecessary rivalry, and it will not be controllable. I think that if there was to be need, and I need to be persuaded that that need exists, to have private investigation, which is currently vested in about 3 institutions: the police, SIB within the police, DSS, and of course EFCC. All of these are charged explicitly.
Including ICPC.
Including?
ICPC.
Including ICPC. All of these are put in place. Thank you, Mr. President, for your very helpful comment. All of this exists for the one purpose: to investigate and, where convinced, to prosecute. For us to go beyond these institutions established by law with clear mandate as to what they can do and what they cannot do, and with clear provisions as to how they go about their business. For us to create an open-ended field where any Nigerian, the bill doesn't even seek to say you have to be a lawyer or a senior advocate or have specific qualifications. But even if you were to say so, I believe that it will just amount to giving so few people the power to intrude into your privacy, the power to be used by political opponents to victimize perceived targets. I do not think that even the mover of this motion has reflected deeply enough about possible abuse. We have a duty in a democracy to protect the privacy of any Nigerian, whether small or powerful, to give tools to any Nigerian to be able to intrude into somebody's privacy and ask questions which ordinarily he has no right to do. Mr. President, I am extremely reluctant, and I urge my colleague, if we cannot shut down this bill at the second reading, and my position is that it should be shut down, if anybody thinks we need to do to revisit it, then it will require that we have all the details. Because we are now discussing, we are driving this vehicle without a dashboard. The law is not before us. The specific provisions is not before us. And sometimes the devil hides in the details. I submit with respect, Mr. President, that this bill does not merit blanket approval for second reading by these distinguished, by these hallowed chambers, under your able leadership. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, my name is Senator Victor Ume, OFR. I represent Anambra Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, I rise to support this well-intentioned bill brought by the minority whip. I say so because the need for private investigators is to serve the purpose of bridging the gap where agencies enumerated now by distinguished Senator Oshiomole fail to do their work diligently. The country will have opportunity to have independent investigators, because there are so many cases we know that have arisen, but they have been swept under the carpet by these agencies he expressed they're mandated to carry out these investigations. Mr. President, there are so many issues of murder that have been reported to the police, and the police has not been able to do any diligent work to investigate them, particularly when they go into it and see very highly connected people around it, they sweep it under the carpet. Nigeria cannot afford to proceed this way. From this bill, you can see that civilized nations of the world have private investigators. And what this bill is seeking to do is to regulate the standard of practice for those who will be licensed as private investigators in Nigeria. Not anybody who applies will be registered. One is that the authorities should be satisfied that the applicant who applies to be registered as a licensed investigator, private investigator, will have the credibility and the expertise, the wherewithal to help us to crack unresolved issues, particularly criminal issues. I don't think that my brother is right to say that we should shut down this bill. That is also unparliamentary. When a bill is before the Senate, nobody should say it should be shut down. You make your contribution for or against the bill based on facts and convincing reasons. So this bill is a very important bill. And I know that if we pass it in the end, you will see that where due diligence is applied in appointing people and licensing them to be private investigators, a lot of unresolved crimes and matters will be dealt with. Nobody will be able to cover anything anymore. The issue of Obla, which you alluded to, is just too outlandish to use it as an example.
He did not mention the name.
No, he mentioned Obla. He did. I'm in the chamber. So what I'm saying is that this bill, for all intents and purposes, is desirable. We should be able to support it and pass it. The licensing of these people should be able to regulate the conduct of people so licensed. It's not for witch hunting or somebody going to investigate anybody at his whims and caprices. The court can make use of the evidence produced by a private investigator, particularly when the authorities that are vested with these powers are not able to assist the court with diligent investigation reports. Thank you, Mr. President. I think that the sponsor of this bill should be commended because it's very, very important. Thank you very much.
Yes, this is Senator Nader.
President Adamawa Central District. Mr. President, I tend to disagree with most of the speakers. For these reasons, Mr. President, on this bill.
Are you in support of the bill or against?
I'm against the bill, Mr. President. I'm against the bill because if you are asking people to go and be licensed, I presently practice private investigation in this country. I investigated a lot of people in this country as a forensic accountant. I cannot go for another, under another regulatory agency for me to be licensed to practice. I give evidence in court, and lawyers can investigate and give evidence in court. So we don't need to put people to go into another round of requirement to go and be licensed before they practice. This is not a new thing in Nigeria. Most of the institutions, most of the professional bodies do investigate and do report and do even go to court and give forensic evidence in court, Mr. President. So I think it's just a duplication of effort to me personally. And I support the single Senator Adams Oshiomole because I knew the work of the gentleman he called. I knew what he did when he was there as a person to recover public property. I knew the people he blackmailed. I knew what, even his interview, if I show you now. But we are not mentioning one person, we are not taking one person as instance. Every professional body in this country can investigate and can report and can go to court and present. So I think we don't need to bring another body to regulate people or to make people register or license. Thank you, Mr. President.
This is Senator Zam.